Alrighty guys, we're back out here. So we left Darwin yesterday and got out, well, day before yesterday, sorry, and got out here. And first thing we did was we retrieved our anchor. So last trip, about halfway through the trip, our anchor frayed off at the bowsprit, at the fair lead, frayed through somehow, and it wasn't even rough. But yeah, that parted. So first thing we did when we got out here yesterday was we brought a grapnel out with us and dragged for the anchor and picked it up on the first drag actually, which was pretty happy. And so we got it on board safely anyway, which is great. So yeah, got that on board. Boys did a whole heap of splicing. We replaced a few splices here and there, and we've got our anchor back. So we're ready to rock and roll. So yeah, the boys are just scrubbing down the deck now. We shot the gear away last night. We've got an additional 20 traps. We've got 72 traps now. So we shot those away. So we've had a good soak. So boys have just had some breakfast. I'm just watching them in the cameras now. And they're all good to go. Yeah, so we'll pick up this anchor and crack into the first day, guys. Yeah, so as always, the anticipation's always there. You know, you don't know what you're going to get. So, and we've moved to a place I haven't fished yet. So we've moved to grounds again, and we'll see how the day goes, guys. So yeah, can't wait. The sun's just coming up, and you can see our traps all the way up to the horizon. So yeah, beautiful day today. So I just got on intercom and told the boys they need sunblock on and a hat. It's going to be a scorcher. We've got a sunshade there, but even so. So we just hauled the first trap. There's fish in it. Happy days. So yeah, beautiful day today, and it's going to be a bloody scorcher. Be over 30 degrees, so looking forward to it. So we've got a big moray in here, and they are generally very angry. There he goes. He's away. That's it. We just picked this up out of the ocean. It's got that rope's pretty new, guys.
Yeah, it is. It hasn't been in long. It's only got a couple little barnacles on it.
So it's been strung together. It's got palm fronds, and you can see the black rope there.
Fishing line.
Yeah, so I'd say it's a fad, guys. So a fish attracting device. So they've dumped that in the ocean, and you tow lures around it basically.
You're dead right.
So it's a fad, yeah. So bamboo.
Yep.
Can you grab that before it goes in the ocean? No plastic in the ocean. Yeah, so that's interesting. And there was a whole heap of juvenile fish hanging around under it, and a couple of birds sitting on it. Yeah, so I'd say it's a primitive fad. So it hasn't been in the ocean that long. The barnacles are pretty small. So there you go. Indonesian fad, I'd say. Cool. These sharks are just ridiculous this morning. Must be 100 of the bloody things down there. Everywhere. It's ridiculous. boys are just packing fish down now. Yeah, there's just sharks everywhere. Alrighty. So we just got back out here. We had to race back into port. Poor Gary got a really badly infected eyelid and tear duct, and I think it might have been from the fish as he was bending down to pick up the fish, and his tails are flapping. He's got some sort of infection in his eye, or something's gone up into his eye, and no doubt he gave it a bloody rub with a dirty fish glove on. So we had to return to port and just drop poor Gary off, and we've got Jason's come out, another guy. So we just got back out here now, and the weather's been a bit sloppy, but we just started hauling traps again. We're doing alright, took it over. But we've got the currents against the wind, so I've basically got to come up and do a 180-degree turn on each trap. So a bit of manoeuvring, that's all good, and a few fish coming up. That's the great thing about having a catamaran or a twin engine. You know, you can turn the bugger on a dime. So I come up here and steam up to the floats and manoeuvre around, and I go back to the hauling station down the back just to haul the trap. You're just close, you can see exactly what's going on with the rope, and you can hear the hydros bogging down. So we're in the mud at the moment, so it takes a bit to release the traps, you know, they get stuck in the mud. So you just manoeuvre it around so that the guys can get a good shot with the grapnel. Although they're pretty good. So yeah, a few tropical snapping today. We've been getting a lot of saddletail, but it's mainly tropical snapping today. So I've just pulled up on the floats. I'll go down to the back station. We've got time zero down here as well. We're just coming up on the trap now, and the tide's got it jacked around the wrong way, so every trap I come up to, I've got to turn 180 degrees and sort of haul downwind actually. So it's a bit time consuming, and I'm actually hauling the wrong way. I should be hauling downwind. It's my old longline mentality. You always, when you're longlining, you always want your wind on the port quarter, just to protect the buoys. And that's basically what I'm doing now, and it's wrong. I should actually be going up to the top end and hauling downwind, especially with this current. So yeah, it's just old habits. I might do that this afternoon actually, just try. So the wind's coming from the east, and I'm hauling up into the east. And the current's coming from the west, so yeah, I've got to do a 180 degree turn. So I'm doing it wrong. I should actually be going up the top end, the eastern end, and hauling backwards. Or backwards for me, long line mentality. Hauling downwind. But we're getting through them pretty quick. Doing like 12 traps an hour. I don't know if that's good or not. So yeah, we get through it pretty quick. The bros! They get the odd good trap.
He's the 154th best fisherman in the Philippines.
Not huge numbers, but if you get that every trap, you're doing alright. Bat's already full. Alrighty. There's another one. And you can see all the fish underneath it. There's some big fish underneath it. Wow. Yeah, it's definitely... So you can see all the fish hanging around underneath it. The fish aggregation device. So that's another one we just come across. The second one today. But I'm looking down below it and there's some big fish down below it as well. Big fish. See might be the sharks that are around us, but yeah. That's the second one today. Yeah, just looking at all these amazing electronics, and geez, it takes you back to the early days. So, you know, I'm surrounded. I've got three 3x0 screens in front of me. For everything, pilots, radar, GPS beacons from Blue Ocean Gear. My first boat back in the early 80s had no electronics whatsoever, nothing. Yeah, so, and I'd leave Whangamata, I'd go up to Hauraki Gulf for the spawning season, so we'd go up there October. Me and my mate Pat, and we'd go up for about 3 months up to Auckland, and we just navigated with lighthouses. So if we were out after dark, I had no sound of nothing. I'd just get out wide of Slipper Island and I'd go out right outside the Mercs, you know, because I didn't want to go through the passage at night. So I'd just go right outside the islands and just use my compass, get a running bearing, and use the lighthouses to navigate my way up to the Hauraki Gulf. Yeah, we used to go up to Mare Island, and when I first went out wide, chasing deep sea species on the seamounts, we'd leave Mare Island to go out to Rangatira's. I'd go out on a compass course. So you'd work out your compass course out to the Rangatira's. I vaguely remember what it was, because I know we had the dog leg around Tahua Reef. And you go out on a compass course and basically set your time, so you knew at that speed. So it was all chart work in those days. At that speed, you should be on the sea mountain, whatever it was, 3.5 hours. And in those days, I had a paper sounder, and you young guys won't even know what a paper sounder is. It was a FE881. I still love them. Fantastic sounders. So it was a reel of paper on a spool that went across, and it had a stylus, and the stylus would draw you a picture of the bottom, and they were incredibly accurate actually. I remember my brother Tingle on the Venture K, he still preferred the 881, the paper sounder, over the colour sounders, particularly on hard bottom, you know, when he was trying to find hard bottom and different densities of mud. So yeah, we'd steam out to the Rangatiras on a compass course, and when you worked out, when you're getting fairly close, because the spools of paper were bloody expensive, you wouldn't turn it on until you got close to the seamount, and then you'd turn it on, and you'd steam around the seamount. Once you found it, you'd steam around the seamount, you'd find the shallowest spot you could find, and you'd throw over like a big harpooker dropper, a big weight, and a rope up to the surface, and you'd have hooks on it, and you'd have a big flag, a bloody big flag, and a flashing light. And the idea was, don't lose sight of that. If you lost sight of that, you basically lost your gear. So if you lost sight of that flag, you'd have to retrace your steps back to Mare Island, 3 hours, and start again. Come back on your compass course and try and find your gear. So that's how we did it. You just did not lose sight of that bloody flag, or it was game over. You'd head back to your original mark and retrace your compass course. So yeah, it was bloody hard, and you knew the deckhand's job at night was don't lose sight of the flashing light. Otherwise you'd be going back to bloody Muir Island. Yeah, and you'd know early hours of the morning, you'd know when he was about to wake me up. You'd know if he'd lost sight of it, because all of a sudden the revs would pick up and you'd feel the boat moving around, because the bastard would be steaming around trying to find the light before the skipper woke up. Yeah, so and then when GPSs came out, Fruno bought the first one out. It was like bloody, well, Space Invaders, bloody great big box. I forget what they were, GD something. Yeah, so they came out. And this is way before, you know, Time Zero came out, and I picked up Time Zero as soon as they came out. I started using Time Zero for its bottom mapping features. You know, I could draw my own maps. But what we'd do around a seamount was, I think we only had 4 or 5 different icons and they were just a set colour on the original GPS plotters. And what you'd do is when you got to 550 metres, you'd do, say, a blue event, and you got to 525, you'd do a green, and you go through your colour scales basically up to red in the shallows. So every 25 or every 15 metres, you just event, you know, as you hit that level. And after a while, when you looked at your plotter, you know, 2D, you'd see a circle of blue and a circle of green, and you basically slowly, over the course of a bloody long time, you drew a 2D picture of your seamount. And I've still got some marks for the Chatham Rise and that were done that way. So yeah, different colour for a different depth, and you just evented everywhere you went, and you'd slowly draw this picture of the seamount or canyon. And that's how we did it, guys, you know. So you'd go, right, I want to shoot in 500 metres, so I'd go to the yellow line, you know, all your yellow events, and shoot along those yellow events. You knew that was essentially your contour. So yeah, that's how we did it. And in the early days, when the Fruno GPSs first came out, they were still using military satellites. And you knew, I think it was a Desert Storm, the original Middle Eastern war, well, not the original one, but at that time, you knew when they were bombing Baghdad, so to speak, because they would shut down the military satellites for the private sector. And I lost quite a few sets of gear, thousands of dollars worth of gear out at East Cape, because you'd shoot your gear and event it on the screen, and of course, if the military satellites were playing games, your information was inaccurate. Or they'd just shut it down for 2 days and you couldn't find your bloody gear. So I lost a lot of gear through that when they were still using the military satellites. Yeah, so we don't know how lucky we are now with the gear we got. And of course, when Time Zero first came out, it was such a technical advantage for me because you could draw your own seamounts, you know, and instead of if you did get very simplified charts. In those days, they weren't accurate at all, and to be honest, aren't to this day. I mean, the new generation of Time Zero they're incredible, but those original charts were bloody way off, you know, and there's still seamounts that I know of, I won't say where, around New Zealand, where they're 15 to 20 miles away from where they are on the electronic charts. I know where they are, but yeah, and there's still seamounts, you know, even though we've got all this incredible mapping, I still know of seamounts that don't appear on any charts. Yeah, obviously won't say where they are, but yeah, there's still seamounts around that no one knows about. Definitely, yeah. So yeah, the good old days. Yeah, compass course and running fixes and when I got, I think it was my third boat, Vanguard, in those days, we had 72-mile radars, and that was why, because we didn't have GPSs. If we were working the outside seamounts, we were taking fixes off Motiti Island and Muir Island and Town Point using a 72-mile radar, and that's why we had these huge bloody radars, or huge range on these radars, is we'd take fixes off different bloody land features, you know, so we could be 30, 40 miles offshore, and you'd take fixes off different landmarks and to fix your position out on the seamounts. And of course these days, shit, you only need a 12 mile radar. You know, you don't really need the huge range because you've got GPS. But in those days, a 72 mile radar was crucial. I mean, should I remember my first one? It had such a big bloody scan, it was like a helicopter. Yeah, so we're very spoilt these days, very spoilt with the electronics we have. And of course, it's a technical advantage. You know, if you've got the latest gear from electronic navigation from Fruno, you've got the advantage over your competition. You know, I'm mapping now, and on this vessel, I believe I go home the end of next trip. I go home and see my beautiful family, and we are fitting WASP and also a current Doppler, all Fruno gear. So we're fitting WASP so we can do multi-beam bottom mapping, and which will all be interfaced through time zero, and a current Doppler as well, because the currents are so crucial out here. So I'm really looking forward to that. You know, I need to know which way the current's going. And there are 5, I believe it's a 5-level current Doppler, so it'll tell me at different depths which way the current's going. And of course, what's happening on the surface is not necessarily what's happening 100 metres down. So the Fruno gear can pick that up these days. So yeah, phenomenal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we are very lucky to have the electronics we have. Yeah, anyway. Gold band snapper and Skull Island prawns. So the prawns, Skull Island prawns, I've been marinating in lime juice, chili and garlic, and just panko crumb the whole thing. Hell yeah. So good. Yeah, so been a good trip, guys. I'm just wandering in now. So it's calmed off a bit, so I'll cook a bit of lunch. Yeah. So yeah, pretty steady pickings. Still the off season, so you know that's all. But yeah, pretty stoked with how it's gone. With some double what we had last catch, for sure. So yeah, get steady numbers. So yeah, stoked. So all the boys are in bed now, asleep. And I'll wander in. I just had the border force call me up, just seeing how my trip went and if I'd seen anything unusual. So, oh mate. Yeah, so everything's ticking along nicely, no dramas for the boat, so we'll get in and hopefully quick turnaround. Get in, get it unloaded. We always service it good for doing 2-week trips. All the engines get a oil change, and we do the fuel filters and primary and secondary ray cores and what have you. So they will get done, we'll give them the service. And nothing else to repair really, so load on some bait and stores and get the hell out of here again. So yeah, it's the plan. But yeah, at the moment I'm just going to feast. Skull Island prawns, yay, they're huge, and mermaid shoal, gold band snapper, yeah, stoked. So yeah, it's my go-to now. It's marinating them in lime, a little bit of chili and garlic. Yeah, stoked. Righto guys, that's my lunch. I don't know what you guys are having, but yeah, that's my lunch.